Some timings do not need to be explained before they can be appreciated. A person crosses your mind, and before the day is over, their name appears on your screen. A song you have not heard in years begins playing just when its words seem to match something you have been carrying quietly. You leave later than you intended, miss the road you usually take, and discover that the delay kept you from arriving in the middle of confusion. A book falls open to a sentence you needed. A conversation ends with the answer to a question you had not spoken aloud. A small change in your plans places you beside someone whose kindness stays with you long after the moment has passed. These experiences do not have to be turned into predictions. They do not need to become proof that every event contains a hidden command. They can remain what they are, gentle reminders that life is wider than the part you can plan, and timing often contains more movement than the mind can see. You may have experienced several such moments recently. You may have dismissed them quickly because you did not want to become unrealistic. You may have told yourself that they meant nothing, that you were imagining a pattern, or that hope was trying to persuade you to see more than was actually there. That caution is understandable. You have learned to protect yourself from disappointment. You know what it feels like to believe deeply, wait patiently, and still watch an outcome move in another direction. You know the tiredness of trusting a process that did not explain itself. You know the ache of asking for support and hearing silence where you hoped an answer would be. So you became careful with meaning. You became careful with expectation. You became careful with the part of you that still wants to believe that life can surprise you kindly. Tonight, you do not have to decide what every timing means. You are not being asked to interpret every delay, every message, every meeting, or every unexpected turn. You do not need to turn ordinary events into instructions. You are only being invited to recognize that your mind does not always know the full arrangement while it is happening. What feels late may still be forming. What feels absent may be approaching through a route you cannot yet see. What feels quiet may contain preparation rather than refusal. And what has not happened yet is not automatically evidence that it never will. There is a difference between forcing yourself to believe and becoming willing to remain open. Forced belief is tight. It tries to silence every doubt before rest is permitted. It demands certainty from a future that has not arrived. It treats hesitation as failure and ordinary fear as an enemy. Openness is different. Openness does not ask you to pretend. It does not require you to call pain a blessing before you have had time to understand it. It does not ask you to ignore facts, abandon judgment, or smile through circumstances that require real decisions. It does not demand that you deny the evidence in front of you. Openness says only this: the evidence in front of you may not be the whole story. There may be more movement ahead. There may be another conversation. There may be a clearer idea after rest. There may be support that has not yet found its way into view. There may be a path that becomes visible only after you stop exhausting yourself against the one that closed. You have spent enough nights trying to solve tomorrow before sleep. You have replayed conversations, searching for the exact sentence that might have changed the result. You have reviewed your choices, as though the past were still waiting for correction. You have imagined every possible outcome and then tried to prepare emotionally for all of them at once. The mind calls this preparation. The body often experiences it as strain. You may lie still while your thoughts continue moving from one concern to another. One question leads to the next. One unfinished task calls another into the room. A small uncertainty becomes a complete future in a matter of seconds. You wonder what you missed. You wonder what you should do next. You wonder whether you have waited too long, asked for too much, trusted the wrong person, chosen the wrong direction, or lost an opportunity that will not return. Then you begin searching for reassurance. You scroll through words that promise answers. You look for a sign strong enough to settle the question. You listen for certainty in another person's voice. You compare your progress with lives you can see only from the outside. You search for one more explanation, one more method, one more sentence that will finally make you feel safe about what comes next. For a few minutes, you may feel lighter. Then the uncertainty returns. It returns because reassurance cannot always complete the work that rest, action, time, and honest self-trust must complete together. You may also find yourself bargaining in private. Let this happen, and I will never doubt again. Give me this answer, and I will finally relax. Open this door, and I will become the person I should have been all along. Bring this person closer, and I will stop feeling incomplete. Resolve this problem, and I will believe that I am supported. There is no shame in these thoughts. They often rise when the heart is tired of uncertainty. They are attempts to create safety by attaching peace to one exact result. You tell yourself you will be calm when the message arrives. You will breathe when the decision is made. You will sleep when the money is settled. You will feel worthy when someone chooses you. You will trust yourself when your choice is proven right. You will feel hopeful when life gives you a reason. Until then, you remain alert. You hold your desire tightly, not because you are greedy, but because you are afraid that loosening your grip will cause it to disappear. You repeat the request in your mind as though life might forget it. You review every detail as though constant attention can keep the possibility alive. You may even confuse tension with devotion. You think that if you stop worrying, you will stop caring. If you rest, you will become careless. If you accept the uncertainty of this moment, you will accidentally accept an unwanted future. If you release the need to control every detail, nothing will protect what matters to you. But rest is not surrender to failure. Calm is not indifference. A quiet mind is not an empty promise. You can care deeply without rehearsing loss. You can take wise action without demanding that fear supervise every step. You can remain devoted to what matters while giving your body permission to leave the state of constant warning. Sometimes the mind believes that disappointment will hurt less if it is rehearsed in advance. It says, Do not become too hopeful. Do not picture anything good too clearly. Do not enjoy the possibility before it is certain. Do not speak with confidence, because life may embarrass you. Do not trust the warmth of this moment, because it may change. Do not rest inside hope, because hope will make you vulnerable. So you prepare for pain before it arrives. You imagine rejection while the answer is still unknown. You picture failure before the work is complete. You anticipate distance in the middle of connection. You look for endings while something is still beginning. This habit can feel intelligent because it appears to protect you from surprise. Yet rehearsed disappointment does not remove future pain. It only asks you to experience pain that has not happened. It brings tomorrow's imagined sorrow into tonight's real body. It places your muscles, your breath, your stomach, and your heartbeat inside events that exist only as possibilities. You deserve more kindness than that. You deserve to meet real moments when they arrive, rather than living through every feared version in advance. This does not mean that you should ignore warning signs or abandon practical preparation. If a situation requires a plan, make the plan. If a boundary needs to be spoken, speak it. If advice is needed, seek qualified guidance. If a difficult truth is present, face it with support. But after the wise step has been taken, fear does not need to keep working through the night. You are allowed to stop reviewing what cannot be changed before morning. You are allowed to place unanswered questions outside the bed. You are allowed to let this hour belong to restoration rather than prediction. The chasing state has many forms. Sometimes it looks like constant effort. You tell yourself that one more task will make you feel secure. You work past the point of clear thinking. You keep adjusting, improving, checking, and correcting because completion never feels complete enough. Sometimes it looks like emotional pursuit. You send another message because silence feels unbearable. You explain yourself again because being misunderstood feels dangerous. You offer more than you truly want to give because you fear that an honest boundary will cost you love. Sometimes it looks like spiritual pressure. You repeat words without listening to them. You search for the perfect inner state. You judge yourself for having a doubtful morning, an angry afternoon, or a tired evening. You worry that one fearful thought has ruined everything you were trying to create. It has not. A human thought is not a command issued to life. A difficult emotion is not a sentence placed upon your future. A day of uncertainty does not cancel your capacity for peace. Your mind will move through many states. Some will be clear, some confused, some bright, some heavy. You do not have to treat each passing state as a final declaration of who you are or what is possible. You are larger than the thought you had at 3 p.m. You are larger than the fear that visited during an unanswered hour. You are larger than the conclusion you reached when you were exhausted. You are larger than the old memory that briefly convinced you the past was returning. A thought can be heard without being obeyed. A fear can be respected without being placed in charge. A doubt can sit beside you without receiving the authority to define the road ahead. You may have been trying to reach complete certainty before taking your next step. You want to know that the opportunity will work. You want to know that the relationship will remain. You want to know that the effort will be rewarded. You want to know that the new direction will not become another regret. You want to know that you will have enough strength, enough time, enough support, and enough wisdom for whatever follows. These desires are natural. But certainty is not always offered at the beginning. Often, you receive enough clarity for one honest step, then another, then another. The mind may protest because it wants the entire journey explained before it agrees to, oh, move. It wants a promise that no part will be wasted. It wants every delay justified, every loss repaired, and every risk removed. Life rarely gives such complete agreements. Instead, it offers moments of participation, a conversation you can have, a decision you can make, a question you can ask, a boundary you can set, a skill you can learn, a night in which you can finally rest. You do not need to solve every future version of yourself. You need only care for the person lying here now. This person has carried enough. This person has tried hard. This person has survived outcomes that once seemed impossible to bear. This person has continued through days that provided no clear explanation. This person has learned, adjusted, repaired, begun again, and kept some part of the heart alive through all of it. You may not always honor what that has required. You may look back and focus only on what you did not do perfectly. You may remember the moments when fear spoke louder than wisdom. You may judge the times you stayed too long, left too soon, trusted too quickly, or waited until exhaustion made the decision for you. But every past version of you was working with the understanding available at that time. Every version was trying to protect something. The one who overthought was trying to prevent another shock. The one who pleased everyone was trying to preserve belonging. The one who demanded certainty was trying to avoid regret. The one who closed the heart was trying to stop an old wound from opening again. The one who rushed was afraid that time would run out. The one who waited was afraid that movement would make everything worse. These responses were not proof that you were broken. They were learned forms of protection. Some were useful for a season. Some helped you survive moments when softness did not feel safe. Some gave you enough distance to keep functioning. Some became habits because no one taught your nervous system when the danger had passed. Tonight, those protective parts do not need to be attacked. They do not need to be shamed, corrected harshly, or pushed aside. They need to be met with honesty. You can say, I understand why you learn to expect disappointment. I understand why you watch every change in tone. I understand why uncertainty feels larger than it is. I understand why hope sometimes feels risky. I understand why rest can feel irresponsible when you have carried responsibility for so long. Understanding creates room that force cannot create. When you stop fighting the part of you that is afraid, You conserve the energy that was being used for inner conflict. Fear no longer has to shout to prove that it exists. The guarded part no longer has to tighten its hold to be taken seriously. It can be heard. It can be thanked for trying. It can be reminded that the present is not identical to the past. This hour is not every hour that hurt you. This silence is not every silence that ended badly. This delay is not every delay that became a loss. This unknown is not every unknown that frightened you. You are here now with more experience, more language, more choice, and more access to support than some earlier version of you had. Even when you do not feel powerful, you are not as helpless as fear suggests. You can ask questions. You can gather facts. You can change direction. You can seek assistance. You can leave what is unsafe. You can pause what is unclear. You can return to what deserves another effort. You can accept that some answers take time without accepting mistreatment, neglect, or avoidable harm. Openness never requires you to remain where your dignity is being reduced. Peace never asks you to silence your instincts. Trust never means handing your judgment to another person. Spiritual practice is not a replacement for action. It is not a substitute for medical care, mental health support, legal advice, financial guidance, safety planning, or honest conversation when those forms of help are needed. These words can support calm, reflection, and a more spacious inner posture. They cannot guarantee an outcome, and they should never be used to avoid practical steps when life is heavy. Real support is welcome here. Clear boundaries are welcome here. Evidence is welcome here. Professional care is welcome here. Your own discernment is welcome here. Nothing true must fear your wisdom. Nothing healthy requires your self-abandonment. You are not being asked to become passive. You are learning to separate useful action from fearful repetition. Useful action has a purpose. Fearful repetition circles the same question after every available step has already been taken. Useful action may be difficult, but it leaves you clearer. Fearful repetition may feel urgent, but it usually leaves you more scattered. Useful action respects your limits. Fearful repetition tells you that rest must be earned through exhaustion. Useful action responds to what is present. Fearful repetition responds to what might happen in 10 imagined futures. You can begin to tell the difference. You may feel it in the body before you can explain it in words. One choice creates a quiet steadiness even when it is uncomfortable. Another creates a sharp demand to keep checking. One choice says, "This is the next honest step." Another says, "Nothing is safe until everything is settled." Everything will not be settled tonight, and tonight does not need that burden. The mind may still ask for guarantees. It may still produce questions. It may still search old memories for evidence that caution is necessary. You do not have to silence it completely before you rest. You can let the questions become less important for a while. You can let them remain unanswered without becoming emergencies. You can stop giving every thought a meeting. You can stop turning every uncertainty into a verdict. You can stop asking this moment to prove the goodness of all moments ahead. The small timings of your week did not demand that you build a belief system around them. They only interrupted the idea that you control or understand every arrangement. The call came when it came. The song found the hour it found. The delay altered the sequence. The sentence appeared while you were ready to hear it. These moments do not promise that every desire will arrive in the form you choose. They do not mean that every coincidence contains a message. They remind you of something quieter and more useful. Your current view is limited, and a limited view cannot issue a final judgment about everything still unfolding. You may be standing inside a chapter whose meaning becomes clearer later. You may be measuring progress with a tool too small for the change taking place. You may be looking only for one result while several forms of support are already gathering around the edges of your life. A better idea may come after sleep. A truthful conversation may replace a confusing one. An ending may prevent a deeper compromise. A delay may give you time to strengthen what the next season will require. A disappointment may direct your attention toward a need you had been minimizing. A quiet period may reveal which relationships can hold your honesty. None of this means that pain must be romanticized. Some losses are simply painful. Some delays create real hardship. Some doors close unfairly. Some people do not offer the care they should have offered. Some events remain difficult even after time has passed. You do not need to call every wound necessary in order to continue healing. You do not need to invent a beautiful reason for what was harmful. You can tell the truth about what happened and still believe that your future contains choices that the past did not. You can grieve what was not given and remain receptive to what can still be built. You can acknowledge that something should have been different without spending the rest of your life demanding that the past return and repair itself. There are forms of peace that arrive without an explanation. They come when you stop requiring the unanswered question to provide your identity. They come when you decide that someone else's inability to see your value will not become your permanent way of seeing yourself. They come when you accept that a closed door can remain closed without turning your whole life into a hallway of waiting. They come when you understand that moving forward is not betrayal. You are not betraying the past by becoming calmer. You are not betraying anyone by choosing clearer boundaries. You are not betraying your old hopes by letting them change shape. You are not betraying the person you once were by wanting something healthier now. You are permitted to grow beyond the requests you made when you knew less about what peace required. There may be a desire you have been holding in one exact form. One person, one date, one opportunity, one amount, one answer, one route. You have imagined that form so often that any other possibility feels like failure. The heart can become loyal to a picture even when the deeper need beneath it is asking for something wider. Perhaps the picture represents security. Perhaps it represents recognition. Perhaps it represents companionship, freedom, relief, stability, or the feeling of finally being chosen. The form matters, but the deeper need also deserves to be understood. When you understand the need, you are less likely to abandon yourself while pursuing the form. You can ask for love without chasing someone who repeatedly withdraws respect. You can seek success without sacrificing your health to prove your worth. You can desire financial steadiness without believing that one opportunity is your only future. You can want reconciliation without ignoring the changes required for trust to become safe again. You can hope for a particular answer while remaining willing to care for yourself if another answer comes. This willingness is not pessimism, it is self-respect. It tells the heart, I will not leave you alone inside any outcome. I will not make your safety depend entirely on another person's decision. I will not call you a failure because life took a different route. I will not use spiritual language to pressure you into accepting what harms you. I will remain with you. That promise changes the way desire is held. You no longer have to grip the future as though one outcome stands between you and your survival. You can want something fully and still know that your worth remains intact while the answer develops. You can hope without disappearing into hope. You can prepare without living in fear. You can act without forcing. You can wait without placing your life on hold. You can rest without losing your place. This is where the chasing begins to loosen. Not because you have received every answer, not because every concern has vanished, not because the future has signed an agreement. The chasing loosens because you are no longer abandoning yourself in order to reach what you desire. You are beginning to understand that inner steadiness is not a reward waiting at the end of success. It is part of the ground from which wiser choices can grow. The calmer mind sees details the frightened mind misses. The rested body can recognize when urgency is false. The supported heart can tell the difference between love and pursuit. The person who remembers their own value does not have to accept every open door. You are not trying to become perfectly peaceful tonight. Perfection would only create another demand. You are letting the pressure decrease by 1 degree. You are loosening one question. You are releasing one imagined conversation. You are permitting one unfinished matter to remain unfinished until morning. That is enough for this part of the night. Let your jaw become less involved in tomorrow. Let your shoulders stop carrying conversations that are not happening now. Let your hands rest without holding an invisible result. Let the space behind your eyes become quieter. You do not need to search the darkness for an answer. You do not need to monitor the future while you sleep. You do not need to prove your faith through exhaustion. The same life that contained this week's unexpected timings will continue moving while you rest. Some things will change without your supervision. Some answers will become clearer because you stopped pressing them. Some possibilities will remain. Some will change. Some will leave and make room for choices you cannot imagine from this hour. You are not required to name which is which tonight. Your task is smaller. Your task is kinder. Stay here. Breathe without turning the breath into a test. Rest without asking rest to produce a sign. Let this hour be incomplete. Let the question remain a question. Let tomorrow arrive through its own door. For now, you have done enough. Alignment is not the art of keeping every thought positive. It is not a performance of constant faith. It is not the ability to remain cheerful while something real is hurting. It is not the denial of anger, grief, confusion, or fatigue. It is not a promise that every wish will take the exact form you prefer. It is readiness joined with openness, moving alongside timing. Readiness means that you are willing to participate in your own life. You are willing to speak honestly when honesty is required. You are willing to make a practical plan when a plan can reduce confusion. You are willing to learn what you do not yet know, repair what can be repaired, and leave what repeatedly asks you to betray yourself. Openness means that you do not insist that only one result can carry goodness. You may still have a clear preference. You may still work toward it with devotion. You may still hope for a specific answer. Yet a deeper part of you begins to say, I will not close my whole future around one unfinished moment. Timing is the part you cannot command. You can prepare the soil of your inner life. You can care for your choices. You can become more truthful about what you want and more responsible for what you do. But you cannot force every season to move faster. You cannot make another person become ready. You cannot demand that a process reveal its conclusion before it has completed its work. You cannot control every factor that touches an outcome. This is not helplessness. It is an honest understanding of where your power begins and where it ends. Your power lives in your participation. It lives in the call you can make, the application you can send, the boundary you can hold, the apology you can offer, the support you can seek, the habit you can practice, and the truth you can stop avoiding. Your power also lives in the decision to roll after the meaningful step has been taken. The part beyond your control does not become safer because you stare at it all night. The unknown does not become obedient because you punish yourself with worry. A delayed answer does not arrive sooner because your body remains tense. You can care without treating tension as a payment. You can prepare without becoming consumed by preparation. You can hope without making hope responsible for protecting you from every disappointment. Expectation can exist without a deadline. It can be quieter than demand. Demand says that goodness must arrive by a certain date, through a certain person, in a certain amount, and in the exact shape you have rehearsed. Quiet expectation says that life may still contain support, even when this particular question is unresolved. Demand keeps checking the clock. Quiet expectation cares for the present. Demand interprets delay as rejection. Quiet expectation accepts that some developments cannot be measured from the outside. Demand believes that peace must wait. Quiet expectation understands that peace can accompany unfinished circumstances. This kind of expectation is not a prediction. It does not claim to know what will happen. It is a choice not to make fear the only believable possibility. You have probably been taught to prepare for what can go wrong. You may have been praised for anticipating problems, detecting changes, and protecting others from uncertainty. These abilities can be valuable, but a mind trained only to expect difficulty eventually begins to treat difficulty as the most realistic future. Good news feels suspicious. Ease feels temporary. Kindness seems to require examination. An open opportunity is immediately followed by a list of reasons it may disappear. A hopeful thought is corrected before it has time to breathe. You may call this realism. Sometimes it is old protection wearing a serious face. Realism includes difficulty, but it also includes possibility. It includes the fact that people can change their minds, opportunities can appear, skills can be learned, misunderstandings can be cleared, and strength can return after exhaustion. It includes the possibility that an outcome may be better than the one fear predicted. It includes the chance that you will handle the future with more wisdom than your anxious thoughts currently allow. It includes your history of adaptation. You have already lived through moments when you did not know what to do, and then you found a next step. You have already faced changes that initially seemed too large. You have already learned things that once felt beyond your ability. You have already discovered support in places you had not considered. You have already become a version of yourself that earlier you could not fully imagine. This does not mean you should expect life to become effortless. It means fear is not the only reliable narrator. You may have confused miracles with dramatic interruption. You may have imagined that the extraordinary must arrive loudly, overturn every difficulty at once, and leave no room for doubt. Yet many of life's quiet rearrangements do not announce themselves. A new understanding changes the tone of one conversation. A moment of courage prevents another year of silence. A clear boundary reveals who is able to meet you with respect. A night of real rest gives you the steadiness to recognize a solution that exhaustion had hidden. A small decision, repeated faithfully, changes what is possible months later. A person offers help without knowing how badly it was needed. A delay gives you time to see what your urgency had overlooked. A disappointment breaks your loyalty to something that was draining you. None of these moments must be exaggerated. Their value is not reduced because they look ordinary from the outside. A life can turn through very small movements. You do not need lightning on demand. You need enough openness to recognize the next honest movement when it appears. Sometimes the change you have been asking for begins as a new response within you. The same situation arises, but you do not abandon yourself inside it. The same pressure appears, but you do not agree immediately. The same memory returns, but you do not build a future from it. The same fear speaks, but you ask it for evidence. The same desire remains, but you hold it without allowing it to erase the rest of your life. This inner shift may not impress anyone who is watching from a distance. It may not create an instant result. It may not produce a story that can be explained in one sentence. But it alters the way you participate in what comes next. That matters. Your inner posture affects what you recognize, what you tolerate, what you pursue, and what you decline. It affects whether you hear the warning inside a beautiful promise. It affects whether you dismiss a healthy opportunity because it does not resemble what you expected. It affects whether you remain with a difficult task long enough to learn from it. It affects whether you ask for help before exhaustion makes the request for you. This is why openness and action belong together. Openness without action can become waiting that avoids responsibility. Action without openness can become force that cannot adapt. Together, they create a steadier way of moving. You prepare, you participate, you listen, you adjust, you rest. You do not demand that every day prove the entire future. Some days are for movement, some are for recovery, some reveal what is working, some reveal what needs to change, some provide an answer, some deepen the question until a better answer becomes possible. You have judged yourself during the quieter days. You have looked at a period without visible progress and called it wasted. You have believed that if nothing obvious was happening, you must have lost momentum. But not all development is visible at the SA, me speed. There is a plant that spends most of the year looking almost ordinary. Its long green stems may appear quiet against the evening air. There is no constant display, no daily proof of what it carries, no bright announcement that something rare is being prepared. The night-blooming cereus does not flower every morning. It does not offer its full expression on demand. For much of the year, its life is held in forms that an impatient observer might overlook. The stems continue their hidden work. Energy gathers. The plant responds to light, warmth, moisture, age, and conditions that cannot be hurried by staring at it. Then a bud appears. At first, it may look small and restrained, hardly large enough to contain what will unfold. Those who know the plant understand that the bud is not an ordinary promise. They watch its gradual change. They see it lengthen. They observe the outer layers begin to loosen. They know that one evening, often within a brief window, the bloom will open. The waiting does not create the flower by force. The watching does not pull the petals apart. Care matters. Conditions matter. Patience matters. Yet the opening belongs to its own hour. Imagine the quiet surrounding that plant as evening deepens. The air cools. Daylight withdraws from the edges of the leaves. The green stems become darker against the night. The bud that seemed closed begins to change almost beyond detection. One layer eases away from another. The form expands. Pale petals begin to reveal themselves from the center outward. What was gathered tightly starts becoming visible. The bloom does not shout. It opens. Its whiteness catches the limited light. Its inner structure appears with careful complexity, layer after layer, each part held in the place it has been preparing to occupy. A fragrance enters the air. The flower may have waited through months of ordinary days for this single night. Its rarity is not refusal, it is emphasis. The long quiet does not mean the plant was empty. The absence of a flower yesterday did not mean no flower existed in possibility. The unopened bud was not a failed bloom. It was a bloom still honoring its sequence. This does not mean your life must copy a plant. It does not mean that every delay is secretly preparing the result you want. It offers a more modest teaching. Visible expression is not the only form of progress. There are periods when your work is happening through preparation rather than display. You may be strengthening your ability to hold what you have asked for. You may be learning to recognize what is healthy before the opportunity arrives. You may be clearing obligations that would make a new beginning difficult to sustain. You may be developing the courage to be seen without performing. You may be becoming honest about a desire that was previously shaped by fear, comparison, or the wish to prove your worth. You may be resting after a season that consumed more strength than you admitted. Restoration can look inactive while it is doing essential work. The serious is not ashamed during the months when no flower is visible. It does not compare its stems with plants that bloom more often. It does not force open a bud to satisfy someone passing by. It does not call its rhythm wrong. It continues being what it is. You have spent too much time comparing your rhythm with lives that grow differently. You have measured your private preparation against another person's public flowering. You have looked at their visible result and compared it with your unfinished process. You did not see their earlier seasons. You did not see the support available to them. You did not see the sacrifices, advantages, mistakes, repairs, or circumstances surrounding what you now observe. You saw the open flower. Then you judged your stem. You saw the announcement. Then you criticized your quiet. You saw the result. Then you treated your preparation as proof that you were behind. But the question is not whether someone else has opened. The question is whether you are caring honestly for the life that is yours. Are you giving attention to what strengthens you? Are you protecting what is still tender from unnecessary exposure? Are you taking the practical steps available now? Are you making room for rest? Are you asking for support instead of pretending you need none? Are you allowing your desire to mature beyond the form it first took? These questions return you to participation. They do not ask you to control the hour of flowering. They ask you to care for what can be cared for. There may be parts of your life that open quickly. You thought of something, acted, and saw a result. There may be other parts that have taken years to understand. This difference does not always reflect worthiness. A quickly opened door is not proof that you deserved it more. A long delay is not proof that you were judged unready by some invisible authority. Life contains variables. People have choices. Systems have limits. Circumstances change. Bodies have needs. Resources are unevenly distributed. Chance exists. No honest spiritual practice should ask you to ignore these truths. The serious does not bloom because it has earned moral approval. Its opening is part of its nature, interacting with real conditions. In the same way, you do not need to turn every outcome into a measure of your spiritual quality. A rejection is not proof that your thoughts were wrong. A financial difficulty is not proof that you failed to believe correctly. An illness is not evidence of inner weakness. A relationship ending does not automatically mean you attracted loss. A delayed opportunity does not reveal a defect in your soul. These interpretations add shame to circumstances that already require care. You are allowed to meet reality without blaming yourself for every factor in it. You are also allowed to make changes without turning those changes into punishment. You can improve a habit because you want greater steadiness, not because you believe you are defective. You can seek help because support is wise, not because needing it makes you weak. You can learn a new skill because the next step requires it, not because your current self deserves rejection. You can release a pattern because it no longer protects you well, not because you must hate the person who learned it. Growth supported by self-respect is easier to sustain than growth driven by contempt. The plant does not insult the bud into opening. It does not reject the stem once the petals appear. Every stage belongs to one life. Your earlier stages also belong. The cautious you, the striving you, the hopeful you, the disappointed you, the one who closed, the one who returned, the one who tried to become invulnerable, the one who still wanted tenderness. They are not separate lives to be erased. They are stages within the person resting here. You can honor what each stage taught you without remaining fixed inside it. You can thank your caution and still choose greater trust. You can respect your ambition and still release exhaustion. You can appreciate the dream that guided you while admitting that its form needs to change. You can carry wisdom forward without carrying every defense. The rare flower is not in conflict with the months before it. Its opening includes them. The long preparation is present in every petal. the quiet care is present in the fragrance. The unseen gathering is present in the size and fullness of the bloom. Nothing had to be publicly proven each day. You also contain work that has not yet been publicly recognized. Every time you interrupted an old reaction, something changed. Every time you told the truth after years of silence, something strengthened. Every time you rested before breaking, something was preserved. Every time you asked for help, a closed pattern loosened. Every time you declined what required self-abandonment, your inner life received a clearer message about its value. Every time you returned to yourself after disappointment, you practiced a form of confidence deeper than appearance. Confidence is not the belief that nothing will go wrong. It is the growing knowledge that you will not disappear from yourself when life becomes uncertain. Inner peace is not an uninterrupted feeling. It is a place of return. You may leave it many times in a day. A message disturbs you. A memory pulls you backward. A responsibility creates pressure. A change in someone's behavior awakens an old fear. Peace does not become false because you lost contact with it. You return. You take one slower breath. You gather facts before forming a conclusion. You place your feet on the ground. You ask what is actually required. You rest. Used to solve a week of imagined problems in one frightened minute. You return again. Over time, the return becomes more familiar. The path back becomes shorter. This is confidence growing quietly. It may not feel dramatic, but it changes the night. You no longer need every thought to become peaceful. You need the ability to recognize when a thought is leading you away from yourself. You no longer need to prevent every wave of fear. You need a way to remain kind while the fear passes through. You no longer need to know the exact hour of opening. You need to care for the conditions that support a healthy life. There may be a bud within your present circumstances, not a guaranteed outcome. Not proof of a hidden promise, a possibility, a skill beginning to form, a decision becoming clearer, a boundary gaining strength, a desire becoming more honest, a new direction taking shape beneath your uncertainty. You do not have to tear it open to confirm that it exists. You can remain attentive without becoming obsessive. You can stay engaged without demanding daily evidence. You can protect what is developing from voices that mock what they do not understand. You can also question it wisely. Care is not blind. Those who wait for the serious do not invent a bloom where no bud exists. They observe what is actually present. They look closely. They understand the plant. They recognize the signs of development without claiming certainty about every detail. You can practice that same grounded attention. What is actually present in your life? Not what fear predicts, not what fantasy promises. What is here? A conversation that has become more honest, a habit that is becoming easier, a body asking for better care, an opportunity requiring preparation, a relationship revealing its true capacity, a grief that needs more time, a financial question requiring expert guidance, a creative idea returning after a long silence, a need for safety that should be taken seriously, a desire that remains steady even after the urgency around it has faded. Reality gives you something to work with. When you meet what is present, you become more ready for what may follow. You do not need to declare that the bloom is coming tomorrow. You do not need to declare that it will never come. Both claims exceed what you know. You can say, I see what is developing, and I will care for it honestly. You can say, I do not see a clear bud here, and I am willing to reconsider where my energy belongs. You can say, this matter requires action. You can say, this matter requires patience. You can say, this matter requires a boundary. You can say, this matter requires rest. Wisdom is not one response applied to every circumstance. Sometimes faith means staying. Sometimes self-respect means leaving. Sometimes patience is mature. Sometimes waiting becomes avoidance. Sometimes another effort is wise. Sometimes the strongest choice is to stop trying to make an unavailable situation become available. The difference is not always immediately clear. That is why calm matters. Calm gives discernment more space. It does not decide for you, but it reduces the noise around the decision. Tonight, you are creating that space. You are not forcing the petals. You are not declaring the bud a failure. You are letting this hour become quieter enough for honest understanding. The night blooming cereus does not need daylight to prove its beauty. Its appointed expression happens in darkness. This darkness is not a threat to it. It is the setting in which its pale petals become fully visible. Your quiet seasons have also shown you things that busy seasons concealed. They showed you which desires remained after applause disappeared. They revealed which connections could meet you without performance. They exposed the cost of carrying too much. They taught you what your body had been trying to say. They made certain truths impossible to keep postponing. You may not have chosen those seasons. You may not be grateful for every part of them. Still, you can recognize what became visible there. The night did not create your worth. It revealed what constant motion had kept you from seeing. There is more strength in you than the version measured only by achievement. There is more intelligence in you than the version measured only by certainty. There is more beauty in you than the version measured only by visibility. The flower is not valuable because someone stayed awake to witness it. It was already fully itself. Your life also has value before recognition. Your work matters before praise. Your healing matters before anyone understands how difficult it was. Your boundaries matter even when someone dislikes them. Your rest matters even when it produces nothing that can be displayed. Your private integrity matters. You do not have to bloom for an audience. You do not have to make every sacred change visible. Some growth is protected by privacy. Some decisions become stronger when they are not repeatedly explained. Some hopes remain healthier when they are shared only with people capable of holding them carefully. You may have exposed tender plans too early because you wanted reassurance. Then another person's doubt entered the place where your own understanding was still forming. You began defending what you had not yet had time to know. You began shaping the desire around their reaction. You mistook their inability to imagine it for evidence that it could not be done. Tonight, you can bring your attention back. You can let the developing parts of your life remain close. You can give them the care of silence without turning silence into secrecy born of shame. There is a difference between hiding because you fear judgment and protecting what is not ready for public handling. One contracts you, the other P reserves your energy. The Sirius opens fully, but it does not remain open forever. By morning, the bloom begins to close. Its brief life does not make the opening meaningless. A moment can be precious without becoming permanent. This truth may touch a tender place in you. You have wanted good experiences to stay unchanged. You have wanted a season of closeness, success, certainty, or beauty to continue without interruption. When it changed, you wondered whether its value had been lost. But impermanence does not cancel reality. A kind season was still kind. A loving moment was still loving. A meaningful opportunity was still meaningful. A period of confidence still showed you what you are capable of feeling. Something does not have to last forever to become part of you. The single night of flowering leaves no accusation against the morning. It completed what was possible in its hour. You can stop asking every good moment to guarantee all future moments. You can inhabit goodness while it is here. You can receive support without immediately calculating when it may end. You can let joy become real before fear turns it into a warning. You can let peace be enough for tonight. No contract is required. No prediction is needed. This hour can be valuable because you are here for it. Your breath can soften because nothing immediate is demanding your defense. Your body can become heavier against the place supporting it. Your thoughts can pass without receiving an assignment. The unseen work of rest can begin. You do not need to witness it. You do not need to manage it. You do not need to remain mentally awake to ensure that restoration happens correctly. The flower knows how to open through processes no observer directs. Your body also carries forms of wisdom that do not require constant instruction. The heart continues. The breath returns. The muscles respond to support. The mind reorganizes experience during sleep. You can cooperate by reducing the struggle. You can stop asking this night to provide the final answer. You can let it provide rest. Tomorrow may contain action. Another day may contain clarity. A later season may contain visible change. This hour contains quiet preparation. That is not nothing. The plant looked quiet before the bloom. It was alive the entire time. The quiet work of this night is not to make you believe something your whole being rejects. It is to create enough space for a truer thought to be heard. There is often a great distance between the words a person repeats and the words they are ready to trust. You may have spoken hopeful sentences while another part of you remained braced for disappointment. You may have declared confidence while your body was preparing for rejection. You may have tried to feel peaceful while pressing fear farther beneath the surface. That distance does not make you dishonest. It means different parts of you have learned at different speeds. The conscious mind may understand that one difficult experience does not determine the future. The guarded part may still respond as though the old danger is happening again. Your reasoning may know that a delayed answer is not automatically a refusal. Your body may still tighten each time you check for a response. You may know that another person's decision cannot define your worth. A younger and more wounded part of you may still experience their silence as a judgment. Real change respects these differences. It does not stand over the frightened part and demand immediate agreement. It does not use beautiful words to conceal what still needs compassion. It does not pretend that repeating a sentence erases experience. It begins with contact. You hear the fear. You recognize where it came from. You check whether it belongs fully to the present. You offer your body a different experience in this hour. The new experience may be very small. You think of the unresolved matter, and instead of holding your breath, you let the exhale complete itself. You remember the disappointment, and instead of insulting yourself for still caring, you place a hand where the body feels the memory. You hear the old prediction, and instead of arguing for 10 minutes, you answer with one grounded sentence. Not every thought requires a debate. Not every fear needs to be defeated before you sleep. Some thoughts lose intensity when they are met without panic. Some fears become less convincing when the body is no longer treating them as immediate emergencies. This is how a new inner relationship develops. You do not become calm by rejecting every part of you that is not calm. You become calmer by refusing to create another conflict inside the conflict already present. The night blooming Sirius does not tear away its outer layers. Its opening is an easing. One part moves, then another. The pale interior does not fight its way into view. It unfolds through a sequence the plant has carried quietly from the beginning. Your own unfolding can be treated with the same care. There may be one sentence that feels possible tonight, even if larger declarations feel distant. There may be one thought your body can hear without immediately resisting. There may be one degree of openness between complete certainty and complete closure. That degree matters. You do not need to travel from fear to perfect trust in one movement. You need enough willingness to stop calling fear the final truth. Willingness is often quieter than confidence. Confidence may say, I know I can meet what comes. Willingness may say, I am prepared to discover that I have more strength than I currently feel. Confidence may say, I trust the process. Willingness may say, I do not understand the process, but I can stop punishing myself while it unfolds. Confidence may say, good things are possible. Willingness may say, I will not declare them impossible merely because I cannot see them tonight. This smaller opening is honest. It gives the guarded part somewhere safe to stand. You do not have to step beyond what feels true. You can begin beside the truth you already possess. You know that life has surprised you before, not always in the way you preferred, not always at the time you requested, but the future has repeatedly contained details you could not have predicted from the night before. People entered your life whose names you did not yet know. Ideas arrived that were unavailable while you were exhausted. Strength appeared during tasks you had once doubted you could face. A difficult truth became the beginning of a healthier choice. A season you feared eventually changed. You are not required to use these memories as proof that every current desire will be fulfilled. They are proof of something more grounded. Your fearful imagination has never held complete knowledge of what comes next. It has spoken with certainty many times. It has said you would not recover. It has said nothing would change. It has said you had missed your only opportunity. It has said one person's absence would leave a permanent emptiness. It has said the present feeling would last forever. Some of those predictions felt convincing because fear uses the language of certainty. Yet you continued. The feeling moved. The circumstances changed. You learned. You adapted. You found another way to breathe inside your own life. Fear may have correctly identified that something was difficult. It did not always correctly describe the ending. Tonight, you can let fear provide information without letting it write the entire conclusion. You can ask it what it is trying to protect. You can ask whether the threat is present now. You can ask what practical step would offer real support. Then you can release the questions that have no useful answer in this hour. This is a form of inner confidence. It is not loud. It does not require you to feel invincible. It is the decision to remain in respectful contact with yourself while uncertainty is present. You do not threaten yourself with failure. You do not compare yourself into shame. You do not treat tiredness as weakness. You do not force an open flower from a bud that needs more time. You care for the conditions. You reduce what is harmful. You seek what is nourishing. You permit natural development to have its own pace. The cereus cannot bloom well without real care. Its rare opening is not an excuse to neglect the plant for the rest of the year. In the same way, trust is not a reason to avoid responsibility. You cannot speak hopeful sentences while repeatedly ignoring what your life is clearly asking you to address. The body may need medical attention. The mind may need qualified support. A financial matter may need careful advice. A relationship may need a direct conversation. A plan may need revision. A commitment may need to end. A skill may need practice. A mistake may need repair. These actions do not contradict spiritual calm. They give calm a truthful foundation. You are not being asked to sit beside a neglected plant and insist that belief alone will make it flower. You are being invited to care for the real conditions and release the demand to control everything beyond them. Ask yourself quietly what belongs to you, not what belongs to someone else, not what belongs to chance, not what belongs to a system you cannot change alone. What belongs to you tonight? It may be the decision to stop checking. It may be a note you will write tomorrow. It may be an appointment you need to arrange. It may be an apology that must be offered without controlling how it is received. It may be a boundary that needs to become clear. It may be the willingness to admit that you do not know yet. It may be sleep. You have sometimes overlooked sleep because it does not feel like a visible response. You wanted to do something. You wanted to move the situation. You wanted to create evidence that you were not passive. Yet exhaustion can make every problem look permanent. It can turn a small uncertainty into a complete collapse. It can make another person's brief silence feel like abandonment. It can make a manageable task appear impossible. Rest will not solve every external problem. It can return some of the capacity required to meet the problem wisely. That is a practical gift. Your body does not have to remain tense to prove that the matter is important. The matter will still exist in the morning. Your care will still exist. Your intelligence will still exist. You do not lose devotion by sleeping. You do not lose progress by pausing. The serious does not apologize for opening at night while much of the world is asleep. It does not seek the busiest hour. It does not ask whether the timing is impressive enough. It responds to the conditions of its own life. You can begin responding to yours. There is a rhythm beneath comparison. There is a pace beneath pressure. There is a clear need beneath the noise of what you think you should already have achieved. Listen for that need. It may not ask for more effort. It may ask for consistency. It may not ask for a larger goal. It may ask for one completed step. It may not ask you to prove confidence. It may ask you to stop speaking cruelly to yourself. It may not ask you to believe that everything will work perfectly. It may ask you to remember that one imperfect result cannot erase your whole future. You can hold a desire without turning it into a test of your worth. You can let it matter without making it responsible for saving you. You can work toward it while maintaining a life around it. You can speak about it without promising what no one can guarantee. You can let the desire become clean. A clean desire is not mixed with the belief that you are nothing without it. It does not require another person to repair every old wound. It does not demand public success to silence private shame. It does not ask money to become proof that you deserve respect. It does not ask one achievement to compensate for years when you felt unseen. The desire can remain. The burden attached to it can decrease. You may still want the relationship, the opportunity, the stability, the healing conversation, the creative success, or the new beginning. But you no longer have to tell yourself that life begins only after it arrives. Life is happening in the room where you are breathing now. Your worth is present before the answer. Your ability to care for yourself is present before the result. Your right to rest is present before completion. This does not weaken your intention. It removes desperation from the place where wisdom is needed. You may begin to sense the difference. One desire feels like a tight bud being pulled from the outside. Another feels like a living form being supported while it develops. The first is full of inspection. Is it happening? Is it close? Did I ruin it? What does this delay mean? Why is someone else ahead? The second is attentive without becoming consumed. What can I care for today? What truth is becoming clearer? What action respects me? What expectation needs to loosen? what support would be wise. This shift does not happen once. You will move between the two states. One morning, you may feel spacious. By afternoon, an unexpected message may tighten the old pattern again. That movement does not erase your progress. You are learning to return. Each return creates familiarity. Each familiar return makes the fear less absolute. Soon you recognize the tightening sooner. You stop before sending the message that does not reflect your dignity. You pause before accepting a conclusion built from incomplete information. You rest before exhaustion turns a temporary obstacle into proof of failure. These are meaningful changes. They may not look like the dramatic answer you once imagined. They change the quality of the life that will meet any answer. Now let the central thought of this night come closer. Do not force yourself to agree. Hear it as you would observe the first movement of a flower opening after a long period of quiet. There is no rush. There is no demand. Only a sentence entering the stillness. I bloom with trust as goodness arrives. Let the words rest without being examined. You do not have to decide what goodness must look like. It may be clarity. It may be courage. It may be the right support. It may be a wiser decision. It may be the strength to accept what is true and care for yourself well. The sentence does not promise a date. It does not deny difficulty. It places trust beside your natural development. Hear it once more with Leslie. For it I bloom with trust as goodness arrives. The opening is not for performance. It is not a declaration that fear has vanished. It is a willingness to let fear share the night with another possibility. Your life can contain uncertainty and goodness at the same time. You can carry grief and still experience a moment of peace. You can face a serious problem and still receive useful help. You can miss what ended and still become curious about what remains. You can feel tired and still be moving toward restoration. A single emotional state does not have to occupy your whole inner life. There is room. One part may be afraid, another part may be ready to rest, one part may still want an explanation, another may understand that tonight cannot provide it. One part may be watching the closed bud. Another may trust that closed is not the same as empty. Let the sentence return a final time, softer than before. I bloom with trust as goodness arrives. If those words feel too wide, you do not have to repeat them. Let the smaller willingness be that you are prepared to soften around what you cannot yet see. That is enough. A small opening is still an opening. The outer layers of the serious do not all move at once. The flower becomes visible through degrees. Your mind may also need degrees. A thought that feels believable. A pause that lasts a little longer. A night with less checking. A morning in which you choose facts before fear. A conversation where you remain present instead of immediately defending yourself. A decision made from respect rather than panic. These are petals of a more peaceful way of living. They do not need an audience. They do not need to appear together. One real change is more valuable than many statements repeated without contact. For that reason, let the thoughts that follow remain simple. Do not strain to memorize them. Do not measure your faith by how strongly you feel them. Some may feel true now. Some may feel possible. Some may meet resistance. Let each one pass through the night at its own pace. I am safe enough to soften. I trust one honest step at a time. I release the need to predict everything. I welcome support in practical forms. I let rest restore my clear thinking. I honor the pace of real growth. I remain worthy during uncertain seasons. I choose evidence over fearful invention. I can hope without abandoning myself. I protect what is quietly developing. I make room for kinder possibilities. I meet delay without condemning my future. I listen for wisdom beneath urgency. I allow my desires to mature. I trust myself to respond wisely. I carry peace into unfinished moments. I accept help without shame. I release comparisons that distort my path. I value progress before public recognition. I stay open while keeping clear boundaries. I welcome good without demanding its shape. You do not need to hold all of these thoughts. One may have reached a place that needed it. One may have felt too distant. One may have revealed resistance. Resistance is not a reason to stop. It is information about where kindness is required. Suppose the line about rest creates discomfort. A part of you may believe that slowing down is dangerous because important things have been missed before. You can acknowledge that history and still ask whether constant tension is helping now. Suppose the line about support feels uncomfortable. You may have learned that asking creates disappointment or debt. You can choose support carefully. You can retain your judgment. You can begin with a request small enough to feel safe. Suppose the line about worth creates sadness. You may have spent years measuring value through usefulness, praise, appearance, productivity, or another person's attention. A single sentence will not erase those habits tonight. It can begin a respectful disagreement with them. You can say that your worth may be greater than the measurements you inherited. You can leave room for that possibility. Suppose the line about delay brings anger. You may have waited long enough. You may be tired of being told to remain patient while a real need goes unmet. Your anger deserves an honest response. Patience must never be used to keep you in avoidable harm or silence a necessary demand. You can stay open to future good while taking firm action now. You can change providers. You can request an answer. You can seek another opinion. You can end the indefinite wait. You can stop offering loyalty where no mutual care exists. Openness is not endless tolerance. The flower's timing does not mean every closed situation deserves more waiting. Sometimes there is no healthy bud to protect. Sometimes the stem has been damaged. Sometimes the conditions are wrong and must be changed. Sometimes care means moving the plant. Your life may also require relocation, redirection, intervention, or an ending. Trust can include these choices. The central thought does not say that you must remain where you are until goodness arrives there. It says you can continue unfolding while goodness finds forms you are able to meet. You may meet it through a decision to leave. You may meet it through a request for help. You may meet it through accepting a truth you resisted. You may meet it through a new responsibility. Goodness is not always comfort. Sometimes it is clarity. Sometimes it is the end of confusion. Sometimes it is the courage to stop asking an unavailable person for what they have repeatedly shown they will not give. Sometimes it is the humility to admit that you need guidance. Sometimes it is the strength to begin again without calling the previous effort meaningless. You can become ready for these forms too. Readiness does not mean you will enjoy every necessary step. It means you stop turning away from what you know. There may be something you already know. A quiet truth has visited several times. It appeared during a walk, in the stillness after an argument, or in the relief you felt when a plan was briefly canceled. You pushed it away because its implications seemed difficult. You called it fear, even though it carried a steadier quality than fear. Fear usually rushes. Clear inner knowing may be firm without shouting. It does not always provide every detail. It may say only, "This cannot continue as it is," or "You need more information," or "This is worth another sincere effort," or "Stop trying to earn what should be mutual," or "Your body needs care," or "The idea deserves protected time." You do not have to complete the response tonight. You can acknowledge that the truth exists. That acknowledgement may be the first visible movement of the bud. The flower does not open because an observer commands it. It opens because the conditions and its inner sequence meet. Your clearer life will also be supported when inner truth meets practical action. One without the other remains incomplete. A truth repeatedly ignored becomes pain. Action without inner honesty becomes another performance. Let them meet gradually. Tomorrow, one small action may become apparent. Tonight, your work is to stop burying what you already sense. You can be honest without becoming alarmed. You can admit that something needs to change without demanding that the entire change happen immediately. You can admit that you want more without insulting what you have. You can admit that you are tired without declaring yourself incapable. You can admit that you need support without surrendering your independence. You can admit that you are hopeful without promising yourself a particular result. This honesty creates inner peace more reliably than forced positivity. Peace is not created by saying that everything is fine. It is created when you no longer have to divide yourself in order to face what is true. The part that knows and the part that acts begin moving closer. The part that hopes and the part that plans begin respecting each other. The part that is tired is included. The part that still dreams is included. Nothing has to be exiled for the night to become quiet. You are not a problem to be solved before sleep. You are a living person in a real season. Some parts are flowering, some are gathering strength, some are ending, some are beginning so quietly that no one else could recognize them yet. All of this can exist within one life. The Sirius carries old stems, new growth, closed buds, and one rare bloom without treating any single form as its complete identity. You also contain more than the part currently receiving your attention. You are more than the unanswered message. You are more than the financial concern. You are more than the relationship question. You are more than the goal that has taken longer than expected. You are more than the mistake you keep reviewing. You are more than the fear that becomes louder at night. Your life is not waiting to begin after one issue is settled. It is here. It is asking for your presence now. To give this willingness one simple outward form, you may comment, open. Let the word mean only this. You are making room without forcing the hour. Nothing more has to be promised. The flower does not make promises while it opens. It responds. One petal loosens, then another. The darkness remains, but it no longer hides everything. Your understanding may unfold in the same way. You may not receive a complete answer. You may receive enough calm to stop creating painful answers. You may not know exactly where the path leads. You may recognize the next respectful step. You may not feel complete confidence. You may feel less willing to speak against yourself. That is movement. Let it be enough. The thoughts you heard do not need to be repeated endlessly. They can settle beneath conscious effort. Your body may choose one. Your memory may return to another in the morning. A line that felt distant tonight may become believable after a future experience. There is no deadline for inner agreement. You are not late. You are not failing because trust develops slowly. You are not being refused because your growth is quiet. Rarity is not refusal. Quiet is not emptiness. The unopened place is not necessarily barren. You can care for it without demanding a display. You can honor what is visible. You can remain curious about what is still forming. Now let the need to understand decrease. The core thought has been offered. The first inner statements have entered the night. No examination is required. No score must be kept. The body can become heavier. The room can remain exactly as it is. Your breath does not need to be deep. It needs only to continue. Your eyes do not need to search behind their closed lids. Nothing must appear. The night is already doing what night does. It is reducing detail. It is quieting the edges. It is making space for processes that do not require your supervision. You can join that quiet. You can let the flower open or remain closed without judgment. You can let tomorrow be unknown. You can let yourself be here, still worthy, still becoming, still held by the surface beneath you, still capable of meeting the next hour when it arrives. For now, no next hour is required, only this one, only this breath, only the small opening you have already made. Receiving does not require you to become unguarded in every direction. An open flower is not without structure. Each petal has an edge. The bloom has a center. The plant remains rooted while it opens into the night. Your openness can also have form. You can welcome support and still ask questions. You can consider an opportunity and still read the details carefully. You can listen to another person without surrendering your own perception. You can hope for reconciliation and still require changed behavior. You can become more trusting without ignoring what experience has taught you. This matters because you may have learned to imagine only two positions, closed or completely exposed, suspicious or unquestioning, independent or dependent, patient or forceful, forgiving or permanently available. Life offers more choices than these extremes. You can be warm and discerning. You can be hopeful and practical. You can be compassionate and clear. You can forgive what happened without returning to the conditions that permitted it. You can understand another person's pain without volunteering to become its repeated target. You can wish someone well from a distance. You can love and still say no. You can remain open to life while closing a door that no longer protects your dignity. The ability to receive begins with the ability to recognize what is truly being offered. Not every invitation is support. Not every flattering promise is an opportunity. Not every intense connection is mutual care. Not every quick answer is wisdom. Not every request for patience deserves more of your time. Sometimes what appears to be an open door leads back into an old pattern. The familiar can feel significant simply because your body already knows its shape. A person may return with the same language that once moved you. An opportunity may carry the same urgency that previously made you ignore important details. A situation may awaken the old desire to prove yourself through overgiving. Openness does not mean saying yes before understanding. You are allowed to pause. A pause is not rejection. It is space for your whole intelligence to arrive. Fear often insists that a good opportunity will disappear unless you respond immediately. Manipulation also uses urgency because urgency reduces discernment. What is healthy can usually tolerate a reasonable question. What is respectful can usually allow you time to think. What is mutual does not require you to abandon your limits in order to secure it. There may be exceptions when a decision truly has a deadline, but even then, you can seek the facts available and respond from clarity rather than panic. The serious opens in a brief window, but it does not spend the whole year rushing. Its rarity does not turn every hour into an emergency. Preparation makes the opening possible. You can prepare for opportunities without living as though every passing moment is your last chance. Preparation may look like organizing important documents, strengthening a skill, improving your health with qualified care, saving what you can, learning to communicate more clearly, or becoming honest about the standards that will guide your decisions. It may look ordinary. It may not create immediate praise. It may not feel spiritual. Still, practical preparation can be one of the clearest expressions of trust. You prepare because the future may contain something worth meeting well. You do not need to know exactly what it is. You care for your capacity. You become easier to support because you are no longer refusing every form of support that does not match your original picture. You also become less likely to accept what diminishes you merely because you are tired of waiting. Weariness can make almost any offer look like rescue. When you have been lonely, attention may look like love. When you have been financially afraid, a risky promise may look like certainty. When you have felt invisible, praise may look like belonging. When you have been overworked, escape may look like direction. These needs deserve compassion. They also deserve protection. You do not shame yourself for wanting relief. You slow down enough to ask whether the offered relief creates a deeper cost. Does this choice respect your future as well as your present discomfort? Does this connection allow your honest voice? Does this opportunity require secrecy, pressure, or the abandonment of facts? Does this decision bring a steady clarity beneath the excitement? Does your body become more settled after you understand the details, or does it remain in a state of warning? The body is not always a perfect judge. Old fear can react to healthy change, and familiar harm can sometimes feel strangely calm. That is why bodily signals belong beside evidence, reflection, and trusted guidance. You do not need one source of information to carry the whole decision. You can gather several forms of truth: facts, patterns, professional advice, your values, the quality of communication, the consistency between promises and actions, the effect the situation has on your ability to remain yourself. These forms of truth create a clearer picture together. Openness becomes safer when it is supported by discernment. Discernment is not pessimism. It does not search for flaws because goodness feels impossible. It observes without rushing to worship or condemn. It asks what is present. It watches what repeats. It gives behavior more weight than explanation. It understands that potential and capacity are not the same. Someone may have the potential to become more reliable and still lack the present capacity to offer a stable relationship and opportunity. He may have exciting potential and still lack the resources required to sustain it. You may have the potential to do many things and still need to respect the capacity of your current season. You do not have to build your life around potential alone. You can honor what might become possible while making decisions from what is actually available. This is not closing the heart. It is keeping the heart connected to reality. Reality is where wise receiving occurs. You receive the support that is truly offered, not the support you keep imagining someone may eventually provide. You receive the lesson that a situation contains, not the future you repeatedly attach to it. You receive the present moment instead of living only for a promised later. You receive your own limits as information. You receive a clear no before it becomes another year of waiting. You receive a sincere yes without immediately searching for the hidden ending. Both can be difficult. You may think receiving yes is easy, but goodness can awaken fear. When something begins to go well, the guarded mind may increase its watch. It scans for change. It looks for the first sign that the good period is ending. It asks whether you deserve what arrived. It wonders what will be demanded in return. It prepares to detach before attachment creates vulnerability. You may minimize the good news. You may delay celebrating. You may tell yourself not to become excited. You may create a new problem because ease feels unfamiliar. This response is not ingratitude. It is protection shaped by impermanence and disappointment. The part of you that has experienced sudden loss may believe that enjoyment creates danger. It may think that if you remain emotionally distant, change will hurt less. But refusing a good moment does not make the future more controllable. It only keeps the present from being fully lived. You can receive something good without requiring it to last forever. You can let support help today. You can let a kind conversation be kind. You can let progress feel encouraging. You can let your body experience relief without using the relief as proof that every difficulty has ended. The serious opens for one night. Those who witness it do not reject its beauty because morning will come. They understand that brief does not mean false. You can learn to receive moments in the same way. This rest is real even if tomorrow is busy. This clarity is real even if another question appears. This support is real even if you will need help again. This confidence is real even if fear sometimes returns. You do not need permanence in order to experience truth. You need presence. Presence allows the moment to reach you. Without presence, the mind lives ahead of every experience. During joy, it imagines loss. During rest, it imagines work. During connection, it imagines separation. During success, it imagines exposure. The body is in one room while the mind is living inside the feared ending of that room. Return to what is happening now. You are supported by the surface beneath you. The night is not asking for a decision. No immediate conversation is taking place. No future answer must be produced from this bed. There may be real responsibilities waiting, but they are not improved by being carried every second. Let the present become specific. The temperature of the air, the weight of the covering, the position of your hands, the natural movement of breath, the areas of the body that are already less tense than they were earlier. You do not need to force relaxation everywhere. Find one place that is not working so hard. A finger, the lower lip, the space around one eye, the back of the neck resting against support. Let that place become evidence that not all of you is required to remain alert. One part can rest while another is uncertain. One part can feel safe enough while another is still learning. This is how receiving often begins. Not with complete surrender, with one place that stops resisting support. You may have resisted support because accepting it felt like losing control. You may have believed that depending on anyone would make you weak or vulnerable. Perhaps someone used your earlier need against you. Perhaps help came with conditions that were not explained. Perhaps you were expected to repay kindness through silence obedience, or emotional availability. That was not clean support. Healthy support does not erase your agency. It strengthens your ability to make choices. It does not demand that you become smaller. It does not keep reminding you of your debt. It does not turn your vulnerable moment into permanent authority over your life. You can learn to distinguish support from control. You can accept one form while refusing the other. You can ask what is expected. You can clarify limits. You can accept only the portion that feels appropriate. You can change your mind when new information appears. Receiving is not an irreversible surrender. It is a relationship with what is being offered. You remain present within that relationship. Receiving readiness includes persistence without self-rejection. It understands that one closed door is information about that door. It is not a universal statement about your right to be helped. The mind may generalize because general conclusions feel simpler. One rejection becomes, "Nobody wants me." One mistake becomes, "I always ruin things." One delay becomes, "Nothing ever works." One painful relationship becomes, "Love is unsafe." These sentences create a false sense of certainty by making the world smaller than it is. You can challenge them without pretending the original experience did not hurt. You can say that this person did not choose the relationship. You can say that this application was not accepted. You can say that this plan did not work in its current form. Specific truth is easier to heal from than a global judgment. Specific truth shows you where action is possible. A global judgment makes action feel useless. The serious is specific. One bud opens. One night carries the flower. It does not claim that every stem must bloom at once. Your life can also contain a specific disappointment beside other living possibilities. One area may be difficult, another may be strengthening. One relationship may be ending, another may be becoming more honest. One goal may require revision. Another part of you may be discovering energy again. Do not let one closed place become the description of your whole inner garden. Your attention has power, not because it controls every event, but because it shapes what becomes visible to you. When attention is fixed only on the missing flower, the living stems disappear from awareness. When attention is fixed only on one person's response, other forms of connection may be overlooked. When attention is fixed only on a delayed result, the skills developing through the effort may seem worthless. You can widen attention without denying the missing part. You can say that this matters and other things matter too. You can honor the desire and remember the rest of your life. There are people who care. There are abilities you have earned. There are ordinary comforts that support you. There are choices still available. There are forms of strength that no single outcome can remove. This wider view is not a distraction. It restores proportion. Fear narrows. Wisdom widens enough to include context. The next thoughts are not commands. They are openings through which your inner life may breathe. Let each one stand alone. Let the words arrive and leave. Keep what feels steady. Allow the others to pass without argument. I can remain open without losing discernment. I choose responses that protect my dignity. I welcome clarity, even when it changes my plans. I trust calm to strengthen my decisions. I let boundaries support honest connection. I take action where action is mine. I release control over another person's choices. I can pause before answering pressure. I respect the signals of my body. I seek guidance when knowledge is needed. I am allowed to reconsider old commitments. I keep my future larger than one outcome. I can receive kindness without suspicion. I let healthy support reach me. I accept that ease can be real. I recognize opportunities that respect my values. I do not chase what repeatedly withdraws. I make space for mutual care. I trust truth more than temporary approval. I remain whole when plans change. I can begin again without self-punishment. I let disappointment teach without defining me. I welcome solutions I have not imagined. I honor both courage and caution. I choose patience without becoming passive. I let urgency become useful information. I release the belief that worry proves love. I can care deeply and still rest. I allow progress to be quiet. I value steady effort over frantic motion. I meet uncertainty with practical wisdom. I give myself time to understand. I can ask directly for what I need. I accept answers without abandoning myself. I let no become guidance, not humiliation. I welcome yes without fearing its loss. I am learning what truly supports me. I protect my peace with honest choices. I trust my life to keep unfolding. The thoughts have passed through. Nothing needs to be added immediately. Your mind may want to select the correct one, repeat it perfectly, or determine which sentence will produce the greatest change. Let that effort rest. These statements are not keys in a mechanical system. They do not control events. They offer language for a relationship with yourself that may become steadier over time. A sentence matters when it helps you return to truth. It matters when it interrupts cruelty. It matters when it supports a wiser action. It matters when it gives the body permission to stop preparing for an event that is not occurring now. You may remember only one line. That is enough. The line may become useful during a future moment of pressure. You may be asked to answer before you are ready, and the memory of pausing may return. You may receive an unexpected kindness, and the thought of letting support reach you may create one small opening. You may face a changed plan, and the reminder of wholeness may keep the change from becoming a judgment about your value. This is how new language becomes lived understanding, not through force, through use, through repetition that remains connected to reality, through moments when a different response becomes possible. Your body learns from these moments. It learns that a boundary can be spoken without the world ending. It learns that a request can be made even when the answer is uncertain. It learns that disappointment can be survived without turning into self-abandonment. It learns that rest can occur before every task is finished. It learns that goodness can be experienced without constant preparation for its loss. The learning may be slow. Slow learning is still learning. The Sirius does not open faster because the night is brief. Its movement remains measured. The outer petals draw away. The inner petals become visible. The fragrance strengthens. Each change contributes to the whole. Your smaller changes also contribute. One less apology for a reasonable need. One more question before accepting a promise. One evening without checking the same answer repeatedly. One decision not to explain a boundary beyond what is necessary. One moment in which you receive praise without immediately rejecting it. One night in which your body is permitted to be supported. These are not insignificant. They are evidence that your relationship with receiving is becoming more balanced. You are no longer asking only whether goodness will come. You are also becoming curious about how you meet goodness when it appears. Can you let it be simple? Can you accept help without constructing a debt that was never requested? Can you enjoy progress without rushing to the next demand? Can you recognize mutual care without distrusting its calmness? Can you let healthy consistency feel meaningful even if it lacks the intensity of old patterns? Intensity has sometimes been mistaken for depth. Uncertainty can create powerful emotion. Inconsistent attention can make each return feel unusually valuable. A difficult goal can become more desirable because it remains out of reach. The nervous system may interpret relief from distress as love, certainty, or destiny. But relief is not always the same as safety. Healthy connection may feel quieter. Reliable support may not create dramatic highs because it does not repeatedly create painful lows. A good opportunity may involve steady work rather than rescue. A peaceful choice may feel unfamiliar because it does not require you to fight for your place. Give yourself time to learn the texture of what is healthy. Do not dismiss calm because it does not resemble the patterns that once consumed you. The Sirius is dramatic in its beauty, but its preparation is steady. The flower is supported by months that contain no spectacle. A sustainable life also needs more than peak moments. It needs ordinary care, regular sleep, honest communication, manageable commitments, financial decisions grounded in facts, medical and emotional support when needed, time that is not devoted entirely to proving worth. relationships where repair is possible, work that does not demand the destruction of the person performing it. Your openness to good includes openness to these ordinary forms. A stable routine may be a blessing. A clear answer may be more valuable than a thrilling uncertainty. A person who communicates consistently may offer more than someone whose unpredictability keeps you emotionally occupied. A gradual improvement may protect you better than a dramatic promise. Do not overlook what is steady, because you were taught to search only for what is extraordinary. The rare flower is beautiful, but the living plant matters all year. Your life between major events matters. The mornings without announcements, the evenings without answers, the work nobody sees, the meals that restore energy, the quiet decisions that prevent larger harm, the choice to return home to yourself. You are not merely waiting for one night of flowering. You are living every day of the plant. Care for the stems, respect the roots, respond to the real conditions. Let the bloom be part of life rather than the only proof that life has value. This removes pressure from the moment you desire. It no longer has to justify every quiet day that came before it. It no longer has to heal every wound, prove every critic wrong, or guarantee permanent peace. It can be what it is: an opportunity, a relationship, a success, a new beginning, a meaningful hour. You can receive it without asking it to become your entire identity. You remain the one who will continue after the moment changes. You remain the ground of your own participation. You remain capable of seeking support, learning, resting, and choosing again. The answer does not carry all of you. The outcome does not own your future. This knowledge lets the grip soften. Your hands do not need to hold the invisible result. Your shoulders do not need to lift toward a responsibility that is not present in the room. Your tongue can rest from the conversations it has been rehearsing. Your forehead can release the effort of prediction. Nothing is being taken from you by this softening. You are not losing vigilance that is currently necessary. You are releasing work that has no useful task tonight. Let the next part of the night become quieter than the last. The flower is open enough. The mind has heard enough. The body may now begin receiving the support it has been touching all along. No performance, no proof, no demand. Only the surface beneath you. Only the dark room. Only the steady fact that you do not have to carry every future into this hour. The night has carried you far enough that effort can begin leaving the words. You do not need to hold every sentence in conscious attention. The deeper purpose is not to remember a perfect sequence. It is to experience a different quality of inner company. For much of your life, thought may have arrived as instruction. A fearful thought appeared, and you believed something had to be done immediately. A doubtful thought appeared, and you began searching for reassurance. A critical thought appeared, and you treated it as a fair judgment. A memory appeared, and your body prepared to relive the entire event. Tonight, thoughts can become visitors rather than authorities. They can enter, they can be heard, they can leave. You do not have to provide each one with a room. Some thoughts carry useful information. They point toward a boundary, a task, a truth, or a need for support. Other thoughts are echoes. They repeat an old conclusion because repetition made it familiar. They arrive in the tone of certainty, even though they are built from an earlier season. You can learn to recognize the difference without becoming a guard standing at the door of your own mind. Useful information becomes clearer when you are rested. An echo often becomes louder when you argue with it. You do not need to decide which is which in the middle of the night. You can write down what requires attention tomorrow. You can let everything else wait until daylight gives you more perspective. The Sirius does not examine every movement of its petals. It does not stop halfway through opening to ask whether it is doing the process correctly. The unfolding continues because conditions support it. Your inner life also changes more naturally when it is not inspected every moment. You may have checked yourself constantly. Am I peaceful enough? Am I trusting enough? Am I thinking correctly? Have I released the past? Have I become confident? Is the new pattern working? Self-awareness can become another form of pressure when every feeling is turned into a measurement. You are allowed to have a human night. A thought may repeat. A muscle may tighten again. A memory may briefly sharpen. None of this means the quiet has failed. The flower does not become closed again because one petal pauses. You remain within the process. You can stop grading it. There is no examination at the end of sleep. No one will ask whether you believed every line completely. The morning will not withhold itself because your mind wandered. You do not have to earn the next day through perfect inner work. Rest is part of being alive. It is not a prize for spiritual success. The desire for perfection has often hidden inside your desire for peace. You wanted to become so calm that nothing could disturb you. You wanted enough confidence that doubt would never return. You wanted to heal so completely that the past would never touch the present. You wanted to become open without ever feeling exposed. These wishes are understandable. They are also impossible standards for a living person. Peace can be disturbed and restored. Confidence can coexist with questions. Healing can be real while old pain occasionally asks for care. Openness can include moments of retreat. A flexible life is not a failed life. The plant moves with temperature, water, light, and time. It does not remain in one visible state. You will also move. Some days, trust will feel natural. Other days, one small uncertainty may awaken an entire history of caution. The goal is not to prevent movement. It is to stop turning movement into condemnation. You can say, "Today is harder." You do not have to say, "I have lost everything I learned." You can say, "This situation touches an old wound." You do not have to say, "I will never change." You can say, "I need more support." You do not have to say, "I should be able to do this alone." Specific language keeps difficulty from becoming identity. You are experiencing fear. You are not fear itself. You are facing uncertainty. You are not an uncertain life. You are carrying grief. You are not only the person who lost. You are waiting for an answer. You are not merely someone who waits. There is more to you in every moment. The mind narrows during distress. It chooses one concern and places it in front of every other truth. The concern grows until it appears to contain the entire future. Widen the view without forcing the concern away. The unresolved matter exists. So does the bed holding you. The desire exists. So does your ability to breathe without solving it. The disappointment exists. So do the choices that remain available. The closed bud exists. So does the living plant surrounding it. This wider attention is not denial. It is proportion. Proportion returns the concern to its actual place. It may be important. It may require action. It does not have to become the whole sky. The flower opens beneath a sky much larger than itself. Your present question also exists within a life larger than this night. You have memories that do not belong to the problem. You have knowledge that the problem cannot remove. You have relationships, abilities, values, responsibilities, and hopes that extend beyond one result. You may not feel connected to all of them now. They still exist. The mind does not need to feel everything in order for it to remain true. A cloudy night does not erase the stars. It changes what can be seen from one position. Your current emotional weather also changes what appears believable. When you are tired, fear may seem like wisdom. When you are lonely, unavailable attention may look unusually precious. When you are ashamed, criticism may sound deserved. When you are overwhelmed, every task may look equally urgent. Do not make final judgments from states that are asking for care. You can postpone conclusions. You can say, I will look again after rest. This is not avoidance when no immediate action is necessary. It is respect for the effect that exhaustion has on perception. Tomorrow's mind may not have every answer. It may have more room. Room changes what you can see. A solution that looked impossible may reveal one manageable part. A conversation that seemed urgent may no longer require immediate pursuit. Eared interpretation may lose strength when placed beside facts. An old memory may return to the past where it belongs. This is part of the unseen value of sleep. You are not doing nothing. You are letting your body and mind complete processes that strain interrupts. The night blooming Sirius prepares without displaying each stage. Its life does not become inactive because the observer sees no movement. You can trust some work to occur outside your conscious supervision. You have carried many things through force. You pushed through tiredness because stopping felt unsafe. You completed responsibilities because others depended on you. You continued conversations after your inner clarity had disappeared. You remained emotionally available when your own needs were asking for attention. Force may have helped you finish. It may also have taught you to distrust any process that cannot be pushed. Some parts of life respond to effort. Some are damaged by excessive pressure. Trust grows through experience, not command. Grief moves in waves, not schedules. Relationships reveal themselves through consistency, not one intense conversation. Confidence develops through lived choices, not one declaration. Rest comes more easily through release than pursuit. You can stop using the same tool for every task. Force has a place. It may help you rise during an emergency, meet a deadline, or act when hesitation would create harm. But an emergency response cannot become a permanent home. The body was not made to live indefinitely in the posture of immediate danger. It needs signals that some hours are different. This is one of those hours. Nothing in the room requires a fight. Nothing beneath the covering requires proof. The future has not entered to demand an answer. Your body may need time to believe this. Give it simple evidence. The door is where it was. The surface beneath you is stable. The air enters and leaves. The room contains familiar shapes. The night continues without asking for supervision. You can orient yourself to what is actually here. This is more useful than commanding relaxation. The body softens when it receives enough evidence that the present moment is not the feared event. You do not have to convince every muscle at once. Let one area receive the message. Then another may follow. The jaw may release a little. The tongue may stop pressing. The shoulders may lower by a degree. The hands may become less ready to grasp. The stomach may remain guarded for a while. It is not failing. Let it take the time it needs. The serious opens in layers because its structure is layered. Your protection is layered too. Some tension belongs to today. Some belongs to years of carrying more than you could safely express. Some began when you had little control. Some formed after a disappointment you never fully discussed. You do not have to identify each layer tonight. You can stop adding new pressure to the old pressure. That alone is kind. You do not need to demand that the body trust immediately. You can say that this moment is quieter than the moment it remembers. You can let the body discover the difference. Discovery is often more convincing than instruction. It happens through repetition. One safe pause, one clear boundary, one honest request, one night of rest, one experience in which goodness arrives without a hidden cost. Each experience becomes new information. The guarded part may not believe the new information at first. It has a larger collection of older evidence. Continue without arguing. Let new experiences accumulate. The plant does not become ready through one drop of water. Care gathers. Your trust may gather in the same way. A promise kept to yourself. a person whose actions match their words, a choice that respects your limits, a difficult moment you meet without abandoning yourself, a day in which you recover more quickly from doubt. These moments belong to your evidence now. Fear does not own the complete record. The final thoughts of this night can enter without explanation. They are shorter because the mind no longer needs long arguments. Let each sentence be one pale petal entering the dark. I trust quiet preparation to matter. I let unseen progress remain valid. I welcome timing without demanding proof. I can rest before certainty arrives. I release the urge to force outcomes. I choose steadiness over emotional chasing. I remain open to wiser roots. I allow one season to end cleanly. I meet change without losing myself. I trust calm to reveal proportion. I let healthy opportunities approach naturally. I honor the work beneath the surface. I welcome confidence that grows through practice. I can feel peace before completion. I release old deadlines placed on my worth. I choose relationships that respect mutual effort. I let my next step be enough. I trust boundaries to protect what is tender. I remain available to grounded hope. I can hold desire with open hands. I welcome guidance from facts and wisdom. I let my body leave imagined emergencies. I forgive myself for learning slowly. I accept that growth has many rhythms. I trust clarity to arrive in degrees. I make room for restorative silence. I release the need to earn rest. I choose thoughts that support honest action. I welcome help that strengthens my agency. I can receive good without shrinking. I trust myself around changing circumstances. I let one answer remain unknown tonight. I honor what is ready and what is not. I welcome the courage to revise. I release comparison from my evening. I choose a future wider than fear. I remain rooted while my life unfolds. I accept the beauty of brief moments. I trust myself to meet morning. I welcome goodness in forms that respect me. I stay open without leaving myself behind. The count is complete. Nothing else needs to be gathered. The thoughts may now fall more lightly, open, ready, rooted, supported, unhurried, worthy, steady, receptive, resting, enough. These shorter words are not instructions to become different. They are places where the mind may pause. Open does not mean exposed. Ready does not mean certain. Rooted does not mean unable to move. Supported does not mean dependent on one source. Unhurried does not mean inactive. Worthy does not mean perfect. Steady does not mean untouched. Receptive does not mean unquestioning. Resting does not mean finished. Enough does not mean without desire. Each word can remain spacious. You do not need to define it further. The flower has reached the fullness of its opening. It does not explain the months that preceded it. It does not justify its timing. It does not ask whether another flower would have opened sooner. It is present in its one night. The pale petals hold the darkness without becoming dark. The fragrance travels without effort. Those who are awake may experience it. Those who sleep nearby may never know the exact moment it opened. The flower loses nothing through their unawareness. Your quiet growth also does not depend on being witnessed. You may never receive acknowledgement for some of the hardest changes you make. The person who benefited from your new boundary may not understand what it cost to speak. The people who see your calm may not know the years of inner work beneath it. Someone may meet the healthier version of you and assume you were always this way. You do not need to correct every misunderstanding. You know the distance traveled. Your body knows. Your choices know. The life you build next will contain the evidence. You can let growth become useful rather than merely visible. A calmer response prevents unnecessary conflict. A clearer standard changes who gains access to your time. A deeper respect for rest protects your he, and a wiser understanding of desire prevents you from sacrificing yourself to obtain one result. These are living outcomes. They matter more than applause. The night has not made you a new person. It has helped you return to something that pressure concealed. You do not have to chase every good thing. You do not have to earn every form of care. You do not have to predict every change. You do not have to become fearless before you live. You can participate with the fear present. You can seek facts. You can ask for help. You can make a decision. You can change it when necessary. You can remain kind to yourself through the revision. This flexibility is strength. The rigid part may call it inconsistency. But changing your response when reality changes is not weakness. A plant that never responded to conditions would not survive. You can adjust without losing your center. You can move the plan without losing the purpose. You can release one form without releasing the deeper value beneath it. You can admit that you were wrong without turning the mistake into your identity. You can grow without pretending you always knew. There is humility in this. There is freedom too. You are no longer required to defend every past choice in order to respect your past self. You can say that the earlier choice made sense with what you knew. You can also say that you know more now. Both can be true. The serious bud was not wrong when it was closed. The open bloom is not a rejection of the bud. One stage became another. You are allowed to become another stage of yourself. The person who tolerated too much may become the person who speaks sooner. The person who feared all dependence may become the person who receives wisely. The person who chased answers may become the person who pauses. The person who distrusted hope may become willing to consider kinder possibilities. None of these changes require hatred for who you were. They require enough love to stop repeating what no longer serves. The body may now begin its own quieter sequence. Let the forehead be smooth enough. Let the eyes become heavy enough. Let the jaw rest in its natural place. Let the tongue become still. Let the shoulders give their weight away. Let the hands remain empty. Let the chest move without supervision. Let the stomach be held without demand. Let the hips sink into support. Let the legs become unnecessary for now. Let the feet stop preparing to leave. These lines do not require a response. The body will take what it can use. One area may soften, another may remain awake. They do not need to match. You can sleep before every part of you feels completely settled. Sleep does not require perfection. It arrives through a gradual reduction in participation. You stop following one thought. You lose the end of a sentence. The room becomes less detailed. The distance between thoughts grows. A sound appears and fades without becoming a story. The body becomes heavier while the mind becomes less interested in holding shape. This is the ordinary threshold. There is nothing to achieve there. You may cross it without recognizing the moment. The serious opens beyond the need for observation. Your rest can arrive in the same way. No witness is required. No final effort is needed. The flower is present. The night is deep. The words have almost completed their work. You do not need another idea. You do not need a more convincing belief. You do not need one final check. The unresolved matter can remain outside the next breath. The next breath can remain outside the matter. There is space between them. Let that space widen. The future will not disappear because you stop holding it. Your responsibilities will not become forgotten because you rest. What matters can be met more clearly after restoration. This is not avoidance. This is preparation without spectacle. Quiet preparation. Hidden restoration. A living process beneath the surface. The flower does not remain open forever. Morning will eventually draw it toward closure. That closing is not a failure. The bloom has expressed its night. Your conscious attention may also close around these words. You do not have to keep them awake. Let them become indistinct. Let the central thought remain somewhere beneath effort. Trust opening. Goodness approaching in honest forms. A life wider than one result. a self that remains present through change. Nothing more must be held. Your breathing may become smaller. Smaller is fine. Your limbs may feel distant. Distance is fine. Your thoughts may become strange, unfinished, and unrelated. That is fine. The mind is leaving the structure of the day. Let it go. The rare flower stands in the darkness without fear of being unseen. You can enter sleep without fear of missing the answer. What belongs to morning can wait for morning. What belongs to time can remain with time. What belongs to you has been cared for enough tonight. Morning does not need to be imagined yet. The night has not finished holding you. Its darkness is not an empty space that must be filled with another thought. It is a place where the day can lose its sharp edges. The conversations can become less distinct. The plans can move farther away. The answer you wanted can remain unanswered without becoming dangerous. Nothing essential is being neglected in this moment. You have already considered enough. You have already searched enough. You have already read the matter through enough rooms of your mind. Let it rest outside this one. The night blooming Sirius does not stay open by force. There comes a point when the opening is complete. No further effort improves it. No observer can make the petals more sincere by watching harder. The flower gives itself to the hour, and the hour receives it. You can give your weight to this hour in the same way. Not your future, not your promises, only your weight. Let the surface beneath you hold what muscles have been holding. Let the pillow receive what the neck has carried. Let the bed take the outline of your body without asking the body to explain itself. You have not failed because some tension remains. The last guarded places may need more nights of evidence. They may need kinder days, clearer boundaries, and real forms of support. They do not need to be conquered here. You can sleep beside what is still learning. You can sleep beside a question. You can sleep beside grief. You can sleep beside hope. You can sleep before becoming certain. The mind sometimes believes that sleep is possible only after every part agrees. But sleep often arrives while one part is still speaking. The voice becomes quieter. The words separate. The thought loses its direction. The body stops following. This can happen without your help. Let the unfinished thought remain unfinished. It does not need a conclusion. Let the image fade before it becomes a story. Let the memory pass without entering its old room. You do not have to return to any earlier hour tonight. The past cannot be repaired by another midnight review. You may have spoken differently if you had known what you know now. You may have left sooner. You may have stayed longer. You may have asked the question more directly. You may have protected your energy with greater care. That understanding belongs to the person you have become. Use it in the living days ahead. Do not use it as a weapon against the person who had less information. The earlier you does not need another trial. That person needs release from the courtroom of your present knowledge. They were inside the moment. They could not see the full pattern. They made choices from the needs, fears, loyalties, and understanding available then. You can learn without continuing the punishment. You can carry wisdom forward and leave shame behind. Shame is not the price of growth. The flower does not condemn the closed bud once it opens. It reveals what the bud was carrying. Your wiser life can reveal what your earlier life was trying to become. Let that be enough. You are permitted to wake without a complete map. A map is not always the first gift. Sometimes the first gift is enough energy to look again. Sometimes it is one conversation. Sometimes it is the courage to admit that the old direction has ended. Sometimes it is a calmer body that no longer mistakes every uncertainty for an emergency. That may be the goodness approaching you, not a dramatic interruption, a usable clarity, a steadier response, a wise refusal, a new willingness, a person who follows through, a resource that makes the next step possible. A moment in which you realize you are no longer willing to live against yourself. Goodness can be practical. It can have an appointment time. It can arrive as information. It can be a completed form, a returned call, an honest answer, a safe place, a revised plan, or the strength to ask again. It can also be quiet enough that you recognize it only later. You may look back and see that the beginning occurred in a night when no visible result appeared. The beginning was the moment you stopped calling yourself unworthy. The moment you accepted that rest was necessary. The moment you admitted the truth about what was hurting. The moment you decided not to chase what repeatedly withdrew. The moment you allowed the future to have more than one door. No one else may know when this beginning occurred. The serious does not require witnesses to complete its bloom. Your inner decision does not become less real because it happens in silence. Silence can hold a turning point. It can hold the first honest no. It can hold the first unforced yes. It can hold the end of an argument you had been repeating with yourself. It can hold the understanding that nothing good requires your disappearance. Let this silence hold what is ready. Let it leave untouched what still needs time. The flower does not open every bud on one night. Your whole life does not need to change before morning. One part can become clearer. One burden can become lighter. One old statement can lose its authority. One degree of trust can enter. This is sufficient. The heart does not have to produce a feeling of certainty. The heart can continue its ordinary rhythm. The lungs do not have to perform a deep, perfect breath. They can breathe as the body asks. The face does not have to become completely smooth. It can simply stop working so hard. Sleep does not require beauty. It requires less participation. Let yourself become less involved in the future, less involved in the remembered conversation, less involved in the imagined reaction, less involved in the need to know what every event means. You can let life contain mystery without turning mystery into a message. Some events will remain coincidences. Some delays will remain delays. Some changes will have ordinary causes. Wonder does not require superstition. You can appreciate timing without surrendering reason. You can let an unexpected moment feel meaningful without using it to make a prediction. The call that arrived at the right hour may have been a simple human act. It still brought comfort. The song may have appeared through chance. Its words still reached a tender place. The delayed journey may have changed nothing larger than the route. It still reminded you that not every change in sequence is a disaster. Meaning can arise from how you meet an event, not only from a hidden cause behind it. This keeps wonder grounded. It allows the heart to remain open while the mind remains clear. You do not have to choose between reason and tenderness. You can value evidence and still be moved. You can seek qualified support and still use words that calm you. You can make practical decisions and still respect the mystery of timing. You can act and rest. You can hope and prepare. You can accept uncertainty without worshiping it. Balance does not mean equal amounts of everything. It means the right response for the real moment. This moment asks for less effort, less explanation, less rehearsal, less demand. The next thought can remain distant. The next breath can be enough. The pale flower is beginning to belong completely to the night. Its edges are no longer something you need to follow. The center does not need to remain visible. The fragrance can travel beyond awareness. The image itself can fade. You have learned what it came to teach. Quiet preparation is still life. Rarity is not refusal. An unopened season is not automatically empty. A brief good moment can be fully real. Care and timing belong together. A flower cannot be forced into truth. Neither can you. You can be supported. You can be invited. You can be given conditions where your own unfolding becomes possible. Then your life responds in its way. No two nights will feel identical. Another night may contain more restlessness. Another may carry a different sorrow. You do not need to reproduce this exact state. The goal is not to create a performance you must repeat. It is to remember that return remains possible. Even after a difficult day, even after an old reaction, even after fear speaks loudly, you can return to one true sentence. You can return to one practical step. You can return to the body. You can return to support. You can return to yourself. The path does not disappear because you leave it. Your return is part of the path. This knowledge may make tomorrow kinder. When you become unsettled, you may judge yourself less quickly. When the old chase begins, you may recognize it earlier. When an answer is delayed, you may take the available action and then release the repeated checking. When a good moment appears, you may remain present long enough to experience it. These are not small changes in the way a life is lived. They alter the quality of your days. But the days do not need to be lived now. Let them remain beyond the dark. The room is enough. The weight is enough. The ordinary breath is enough. You can stop listening for instructions. No more instructions are required. The next lines are places to land, not tasks to perform. Your forehead is arriving. Your eyes are arriving. Your jaw is arriving. Your shoulders are arriving. Your hands are arriving. Your chest is arriving. Your stomach is arriving. Your back is arriving. Your hips are arriving. Your legs are arriving. Your feet are arriving. Your whole weight is arriving. The body has nowhere else to be. It can remain. It can become heavy. It can lose the outline of effort. The parts that worked all day can become unavailable to the world for a while. Your hands do not have to answer. Your mouth does not have to explain. Your eyes do not have to examine. Your mind does not have to organize. You are off duty from what cannot be completed in sleep. Let the words become fewer. Here, held, quiet, no rush, no proof, no chase. Still here, still whole, still becoming. The flower is not waiting for permission. Its hour has already come. Your hour is not identical to its hour. Your life has its own conditions, its own choices, its own real limits, its own opportunities for action. You do not need to compare them. You only need to meet what is yours when it becomes clear. Tonight, what is yours is rest, not as a reward, not as a method for controlling tomorrow. Rest because you are a living body. Rest because attention has limits. Rest because care without recovery becomes depletion. Rest because mourning is better met by someone who has not spent the whole night fighting an invisible future. You are not required to watch over every possibility. Life will continue beyond your attention. Other people will make their choices. Systems will continue moving. Time will pass. The earth beneath the room will remain in motion without your help. You can release your post. No alarm is needed inside the mind. You will wake when waking comes. Until then, you may belong to the quiet. The final vow of this night can be simple. I stay open as my hour unfolds. Good is finding its way to you. You do not need to follow it through the dark. Sleep now. Tomorrow will meet you softly,